You hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/inkdependence keeps this blog ad-free. Hi folks, I'm Mike, this is Inkdependence, and this is Papier Plume's Iron Lace. This is the newest ink in their New Orleans collection, which is a collection of inks inspired by various things are in and around and about New Orleans. This one goes to the cast iron lace that is all over the city. You see these really cool balconies and all sorts of things with this iron lace pattern going on, and it comes off as a not quite black. It actually says here a not so basic black, which I think is accurate. This ink is actually like a super dark green, I think. You can see here it looks very, very dark on the lid. I also really like how they hand dip and then stamp the lids of these bottles. I think that's very cool. So thank you to Papier Plume for sending this out for review. You can find yours at papierplume.com, and it'll look more or less like this. So this is a coloring oversize, and this is Papier Plume Iron Lace. And you can see it gets very dark where it's quite saturated, and then out on the edges, you get this very cool sort of green color off there. So this is sort of a big swatch here. And of course, nothing goes through coloring paper. Oh, almost nothing. I've had a couple of things do it, but this certainly doesn't. And then here it is on some Rhodia. This is my usual Rhodia 80 grams per square meter paper. I think this ink is like a mildly wet ink. You can see here in this swatch, a little glitter. Where'd that come from? Who knows? Once you have glitter, you always have glitter. And it comes off much more green on this coated paper than it does on the coloring paper, which is thicker and a little bit more absorbent, I think. So you can see definitely here on the outliers, definitely comes off as more of a green. And you do get some of that green in the writing as well. If you have the right paper and the right nibs and such, it's going to look more or less green. We'll sort of see how that goes. So I've had this in two pens. The first one is this one, which is a Delta Unica. You don't really see this pen very much anymore. And in fact, I haven't written with it for a while. This is an Anderson Pens version of this Delta Unica. It has the AP. It's number 42 out of 50. I really like this pen. It has a very nice nib. It is a pretty wet medium, and I said, well, sometimes Papier Plume does a little bit of undersaturation. Let's give this ink some room to run in this wet nib, and it does. It runs very nicely. This ink, I think, is mildly wet. It's not super wet or anything. I mean, it feels wet in this nib. This is also a wet nib, and so you can see in the bits that are from the Delta, like here and down in here, this ink comes off very black. You get the occasional green tone. It's got that sort of green cast to it, but it is pretty darn black. And then I heard that it was really good in fine and extra fine nibs too, and so I wanted to give that a try because why not? And so I inked up my venerable Rotring core. You can see this one is picked up like it's a little bit stained. It looks a little bit old. This is maybe the first fountain pen I bought for myself. I'm fairly sure it is. And this has what is labeled as an XS nib, which is that's one of these weird things the Rotring have is the XS nib. It's really kind of just a fine, but it's labeled XS. And you can see in those writing samples here and down here that you definitely get more of those green tones because you're not putting down as much ink. This nib is pretty medium and it's fine. And so instead of being a wet wide medium, you have a pretty well-adjusted fine, and you get a little bit more of that green tone. I think this ink is still perfectly appropriate for office stuff and things like that. It's one of those inks where you'll know you're not writing with exactly a black, but other people won't really notice, and it can just be like a little fun thing for you, which I like in an ink. As I said, flow mildly wet, performance mild bleed on some of the worst paper, which is this stuff. This is Staples 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper. And yeah, this ink and this paper don't get along. This paper is very bad, y'all. I mean, you can see here on the back, like it bled through even with this fine nib, and it was spreading. I got some feathering. I haven't seen this on any other paper. So if you have the worst paper, maybe this ink isn't going to be the one to use on it. But man, a bad paper can make any ink bad. There are very few inks that actually perform well on this stuff. This is a Birmingham ink. Really came through too. So yeah, it's not great on this really bad recycled paper, but it has been good on everything else that I've used it on, and so that's a plus. I was really enjoying using it on, for instance, like this Baron Fig paper. This is like the small Mastermind. It was really nice on here yesterday. all that sort of thing. So put it on some not craft paper, and it'll be just fine. And then qualities, some mild green shading is what I gave it. Now this does go for $10 in a 30 ml bottle, which is this little bottle right here. I'm not sure how limited this is. Usually they keep making the New Orleans collection inks for at least a while, but definitely go over there and check it out, because $10 I think is a perfectly good price for this much ink. And then let's do our little water test here. We'll look at it next on some other papers, next to some other off-black inks, look at some chromatography. You know the drill. Get this down here. Put it on the words, because why not? Sort of let that do its thing. Give it a little shake. All right. Blot it up. Actually, that's not bad. I did have quite a bit come off on the paper towel here, but you know, like all the lines are still there. It still looks black. That's cool. I wasn't sure exactly what to expect this one, but yeah, I mean, even here on the writing bit, no problem. It's fine. So yeah, you'll have some smearing, you'll lose some ink, but it's still going to be legible. All of this is surviving. So hey, good job, Iron Lace, sticking around for the long haul. Okay, let's look at this on some other papers. Oh wait, no, chromatography. That's what we need to do first. There we go. The chromatography on this is actually very cool. It being a dark green, I was expecting this sort of dark green tone and even maybe this dark blue. I wasn't really expecting these light greens, like this sort of, I don't know, olivine or something, and this very bright blue tint up at the top, which is interesting. Really dark inks often have a lot of interesting components in them. And Papier Plume makes these in-house, which is pretty cool. So that's a neat mix, Papier Plume. Very cool. But you do see down here where I made the original line, that it stuck around very well, and then, you know, some of it came off, but stuck around down there very well. Very nice. Oh, I have these little dipper too, which is kind of cute. This little Papier Plume. Let's dip this in the ink, and that's what it looks like. There you go. Okay. All right. So here on my ink journal, which is a Tomoe River paper, I have it in 2 nib sizes, of course, the Delta Unica here, and then the Rotring Core down here, and both of them are looking pretty darn dark on this paper, which doesn't really absorb anything, and so the ink kind of hangs out there until it dries. It dried relatively quickly, as I remember on here. Not bad at all, and no smearing or anything like that. You're not going to get any sheen or anything off of this ink, and there's not this top layer, so it's actually sticking around really nicely. So good job. Very cool. Then here, in my Inky Fingers Currently Inked notebook, this is wheat straw paper, which is some good paper. Oh, I took this out. That was my bookmark. Uh-oh. There it is. I'm getting to the end of this book. I've got like 2 pages left. Goodness. I have here in the Anderson Pens Red Delta Unica. You definitely get some more of the green on this paper, which is not nearly as coated. I don't know if it actually is coated at all, but it is very ink resistant. You get this nice green cast to it. This is sort of what cast iron looks like when it's been out in the weather forever. You get this like sort of patina, and you get maybe some moss or lichen or something. So that's pretty cool. I like the way the things this invokes. Rotring Core and Nib XS. So weird. I don't know why they did that. And then this is the little bit of green and stuff you get there. All right, yeah, looks good. So let's look at this next to a whole bunch of other inks right quick. So here it is on a Colodex card. So same paper as the big Colo ring. So it looks pretty much the same. A very, very dark green edges. Sort of an overall green cast now that it's dried. When it goes down, it looks just black. But as it dries, you definitely get some more of that green. So I actually had to go through several sections of my my Colodex to find inks that were kind of close, because sometimes blacks will lean a little bit green, so I was looking for some of those. Sometimes blue blacks will look a little bit green. I was going to see if there were any of those. And then sometimes I was just looking for like a green black. So here we go. This is KWZ's Foggy Green, which is, I think, much more green than Iron Lace. It's definitely a lighter hue. But somewhat in the same vein here. Then we have Diamine Salamander, which is one of the inks that I really like, but it's more of a swampy green. It's not nearly as dark as Iron Lace. Diamine Salamander, when you use it, is going to look like a green mostly. I mean, it's a very dark green. You could probably get away with it in a like professional setting, but it's still very much a green. Whereas Iron Lace has a green overcast or overtone, undertone. I don't know, some kind of tone, but it looks more black. Noodler's Colorado Spruce was a pen show ink from several years ago. It's not really available much as far as I know. And this one just had a long time drying. I was smudging it everywhere, it looks like. But very, very dark green, kind of close, I think, to Iron Lace, this Colorado Spruce, although I think more of a piney green than this one. Then Noodler's Zhivago, which I haven't used in forever. This sample is from 2013. Zhivago, I don't remember if I liked this ink or not. I remember very little about it, but it has some of the same qualities going on as Iron Lace. Very, very dark green, looks almost black. There's also Noodler's L. Lawrence, which is kind of like this, but looks more like motor oil, I suppose. I didn't find a swab of that one. Then Monteverde's Jade Noir, which is definitely more green than Iron Lace. So if you're looking at Jade Noir and you're like, I wish that was more noir, get yourself some Iron Lace. Then there's KWZ Rotten Green, which I haven't had a chance to use yet, but it looks more of like a blue green. I figure maybe some people would ask about this one, but I haven't had a chance to use it yet. Such a good name, Rotten Green, but not quite the same, but in a very kind of close green-black family. And then, almost last, Robert Oster's Grün Schwarz, which is like a green-black, and that is, I think, fairly close. It's got a lot of the same stuff going on. I don't know if Grün Schwarz is still made. Robert Oster has so many colors, I can't keep track. And then, lastly, another Noodler's. Noodler's has a few of these sort of green-black. Maybe it's a boutique ink thing. This is Noodler's USS Texas, which was a Dromgools exclusive. I'm not sure if they have it anymore, but it's right there. This is from 2016, so that was a little while ago. But I think it's not really the same. This one's more piney, definitely more recognizably green, I think. But they're both going for the same kind of thing, like patinaed older metal. It's been sitting out in the weather looking hard. So there you go. This has been Papier Plume's Iron Lace. Go find yourself a bottle of Iron Lace over at papierplume.com. I do like this black is not your basic black. It's not boring. It's got a little bit of a green tint to it, and I'm really enjoying it using it in these two pens that I haven't used in quite a while, but that I really like. So two things. Get yourself some Iron Lace, and also ink up a pen you haven't used in a while. And remember why you like that pen so much. All right, that's it. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.